brought the original Alley Cat back from powder coat. Now this is the one we did the video on, where we used a lot of the original pieces, the original steering hoop, original front axle, original axle hangers in the back, built a new perimeter frame and replaced the tubes because they were broken about 6 places. I did like they did with the original Alley Cat, build a new panel for it, welded that panel on. I put a steel seat back in it, just like the original Alley Cat had, but I put an aluminum floor pan in so that it has flexibility in the front section of the frame. And so I want to show you what we do when we put the floor pan in, different than a lot of people. A lot of people just rivet their floor pans and stuff in. So as long as you have the option of doing this, and it's been all apart, obviously we take and tab our floor pan. I know a lot of you guys are doing rups and stuff, and they had about, I don't know, 100 rivets down through here. Really, if you got the whole thing apart, put tabs in it. It's so much nicer and cleaner. Plus, your butt's sitting on it, so I don't like sitting on rivets any more than I have to. Now, when I say that, you're going to say, well, you got rivets in here. Now, these rivets aren't done. These are steel rivets with a plate on them, and I'm going to take these steel rivets and we'll pound these down so they're not sticking up. Plus, that puts the plate on there a lot tighter. And so when we do that, they won't be sticking up. And if you look at the way I did this seat pan's held in with these 2 bolts on each side up here on these tabs, 2/4 inch bolts. Plus it's held in with the pan, it's held in with the bend on this backside. This is not going to go anywhere. It's supporting your weight. Don't have to worry about it coming apart on you when you're out on the track running.
And plus we bolt the tabs.
Yep, tabs are all bolted in with 1/4 inch. So these all have to be hammered down yet. So when you hammer those steel rivets down, they don't come back out. And of course the Alley Cat used this, original Alley Cat used a plate across here, steel, this piece of steel bent. In our case we're using aluminum that gets riveted in, 6 rivets.
Yeah, so it's all back from powder coat. Nice red color.
Yep, this is International Harvester Red with clear coat.
Horkins did another job on it.
Horkins powder coating in Reedsburg, Wisconsin. So this will end up with the master cylinder here and the caliper here.
And if they remember from the previous video, this is where it was broke.
It was broken multiple places here. So I gusseted it under here. And the original Alley Cats were gusseted here, so I went ahead and put a gusset in here. I normally on ours, I do not put a gusset in here. One of the reasons it also kind of needs this gusset in here, the original Alley Cats used a 3/4 inch seat hoop. We use a 1 inch seat hoop when we do them, but I went ahead and did a 3/4 inch like the original Alley Cat had, because we're trying to make it more like the original Cats.
Oh, this is a
this
version. This is a version 1 as well. It's not the 2s that came out like a year or 2 later.
Well, this would be considered a possible 61 or 62.
Right.
Now, some of the early 61s had a steel motor mount welded on the chassis.
Yep.
Then they came with a swing mount. They had several versions of that swing mount.
Yep.
So I took our old swing mount, the old original swing mount that was all busted apart. It was busted here, it was busted up here. I welded this thing all back together. You can see I have left some weld on the bottom because that's where your strength is. You don't want to grind it all off. But anyway, I fixed this old mount up. It came out pretty good from powder coat. So we'll end up using this mount. It's an original mount. You can tell what color stuff was because anything that was already done before, the old red paint, if there was any trace of it at all, came through the powder coat.
Yep.
I had the same problem with the spindles. This is an original spindle, and you can see they couldn't get it when they sandblasted. They couldn't get all the red paint out of the cracks and crevices, so it bled through the silver. But you know, that's the way it is.
Yeah, plays a role of historic.
Yeah, it's historic.
It's historic.
So now we got to take this to get upholstery built for it. Hopefully that goes well. Struggling to find someone to upholster. That's always a problem. Especially when you got 5 of them to do and you got to pay the bill for 5.
Well, that's where we're at with the old alley cat restoration.
So I'm the guy you always hear in the videos and you never actually get to see, so now you know how ugly I am.
There he is again.
Yeah, Mr. Ugly.
Viewfinder and just doing this with the cell phone, so the viewfinder is a little bit different than the normal camera that we used for shooting and everything. But our goal is to get this on the track here another, well, probably month or so. We're in March already, so getting a little bit closer. Snow is starting to vanish.
Yeah, I still got 4 carts to build between now and then. Huh. This is what I was talking about with the Rathman guys. If you don't want to polish your Rathman and you took the anodizing off and it's kind of beat up, sand out your worst areas, and this is actually finished with triple-aught steel wool and WD-40, and it ends up with that brushed look. It's not polished, it's not shiny, but it hides so much. Did the same thing here on the sides.
Yeah, and normally on our alley cats we polish all of that.
We polish it, but this is straight line.
But this is that brushed aluminum.
Brushed look.
Yep.
So it's another alternative if you don't have a buffer available, but you don't like the standard aluminum look of a sheet of aluminum. This is an easy option. Doesn't take you any time at all to do it. I sanded it with 320 paper first. If you got really deep scratches, you could use something more coarse than that and then go to 320 and then go straight to WD-40 and steel wool. The 320 wet paper, you use that with just water.
Yep.
So there's another option.
Yep, well, it looks good.
So the alley cat's pretty easy. This project's a little bit tougher to do.
Yeah, this isn't an alley cat here. And you're probably trying.
This is a 2-inch stretch chassis with a 38-degree rake with a 5-inch or 5-degree rake triple tree in it. It's got 130 horsepower at the rear wheel, S&S 124 in it. Yeah, this is a little bit of a project.
Yeah, it's a little different than a go-kart. And you can see how he's stretching the tanks and everything too.
Don't take too much of that.
Yeah, we're putting my Invader back together. That must mean we got some other Invaders someplace, hiding somewhere.
And no, the seat's not going to stay blue.
So just put a new seat in it. Drilled a lot of extra holes, like you normally do anytime you put new seats in. Just probably got more holes to drill, figure out yet.
Nope.
He says no, but wouldn't surprise me if we end up with another seat.